Awesome. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And welcome to the Aim High podcast, the Aim High REI Not News Network. I am Bud Evans, the property patriot and host of the Aim High podcast, together with my wonderful and brilliant co-host from the West Coast, Kimmy Crombie. Good morning, Kimmy.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. I have my sippy cup.
And I have my Friday coffee mug, as always. I have to tell you that today, of all days, I was pretty tempted to have this maybe not be coffee.
It's been one of those weeks, right?
Oh,
it's the end of the month.
Yeah.
You know, It's just one of those things where you're like, you know what? In real estate, it's coming up on the end of the month. You have like $100,000 in your bank account on Monday. By the end of the month, you have like $100 in your bank account. And you're going, come on, rent.
Yep, absolutely. And we've said it multiple times previously, right? But if it were easy, everybody would do it.
Exactly.
And I don't know about you, but I kind of sickly, like, I enjoy the roller coaster.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm lagging again.
Oh, a little bit. Yeah. Hey, we've got some folks joining us live. So good morning, Zena. Good morning, Ivan. That's my dude. That's my accountability bro right there. And oh, hey, Coach Rob is on here.
What?
What's up?
The OG himself?
He said the OG himself. He's got a canceled flight, so he's spending his time with us. We love it. We love
Sweet.
it. Oh, and Alicia Durden. Good morning. Oh, and here we go. Ivan's already throwing it down. He says he's here for the dad jokes. Hopefully we won't
Bring
disappoint.
it on, man. I am all for it. Let's go. I am just trying to get my system set up here, and we'll go from there. But I mean, holy crud, and so guys, if you wouldn't mind, if you go into StreamYard.com/Facebook, it will allow you to put your names in there. It's like Diane just did, so we can see who you are, which would be great. That way, I don't have to look and see my other screen up here, and then I look like I'm looking up, and then it, makes my system go a little wacky and blah blah blah.
I mean, but we're always looking up, right? Like we're always trying to. It's always because we're aiming high. Oh,
but I think it's 1-1 now. It's 1-1.
I think it's 1-0. I think I got one up on you today.
Did you get one? Okay, all right. I'll let it slide. I'm not going to say anything about the one I threw out there in the pre-show warm up. But hey, we had 500 views this week.
What? You guys, what are you doing watching this?
Unbelievable. And I dropped it into Buzzsprout to put it up on the Aim High podcast website. That is the aimhighpodcast.com. Mom joke. Nice. Yeah. So we threw it out on the Buzzsprout so that we can put it out into the stratosphere on both Apple and Spotify and iHeartRadio and blah, 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 blah. So.
Yay. So exciting.
Hey, did you get your workout in this morning?
You know what? I did get my workout in, and I got a phone call. So, I get up I try to get up between 5:45 and 6 because my workout is at 6. I like to work out before my body knows what I'm doing first thing in the morning. But this morning, my workout was interrupted by the pod. He called me, and I'm like, I better get it because if it's business related or whatever, I need to talk to him. So I answer the phone, and I'm like, right, heavy breathing, and I'm jumping around because it's a high intensity, it's a HIIT workout. And he's like, hey, how you doing? What's up? Oh, it sounds like you're driving or something. I'm like, driving? Bro, it is Friday morning. I am working out. I have stress. I got to get it out somehow. And he's like, oh, yeah. All right. So anyway, and he just like had like a 10-minute conversation. So I did not have, but I don't know if I've ever shown you these. So I have these awesome headphones that Justin bought me.
Are they the jawbone? The ones that like just sit on your mandible?
Yes. Yeah, so they're magnetic, so they cling to your ears. I have the tiniest ears. They're so small. I don't even have like earlobes really, but these.
Well, you are a tiny person, and therefore you must be smart.
Yes, I must. Do or do not. There is no try. So I have these things, and they sit, and they're bone conducting. That's right. A deal is neither good nor bad. It just is.
Find the number.
Yeah. These sit on the top of my ears, and they don't move. I can run with these. I can do like a trail run. And I typically, if I know I'm going to have to take a call that I just have to listen to, but I'm working out, I'll put these on because these are not noise canceling. I can hear, stuff in the ancillary, like right around me in my peripheral. Well, this morning I didn't have these downstairs. So I'm holding the phone and I'm like doing jab, jab, cross, jab, right? And just like, and I'm sure Pod could hear. I was like, I'm still working out. I mean, I'll have this conversation, but I'm not stopping. And
remind me not to mess with you. If your morning consists of, jab, jab, cross, jab, I don't. And by the way, when you're over 50, like your body doesn't remember anything. Neither does mine.
That's so. Oh my God. Well, I have to say that's part of the reason that I like to work out earlier in the day, because then it's out of the way. It's done. I did something for myself. If nothing else gets done, my workout got done. And again, you're working out before your brain and your body can really catch up. So yes,
my brain does not engage. My mouth just keeps moving.
Okay, so now Ivan says I'm a maniac. I'm not a maniac. I just really like to work out.
Maniac on the floor.
Oh my God. Y'all, it's starting
Hashtag
early.
stupid movie reference.
It is a stupid movie reference. Oh my God. But you are on fire this morning. You are on fire, which I have to say, it's great because starting my Fridays like this, it gets me energized. My Fridays are, I don't know about you, my Fridays are super busy in real estate. Because I don't work on Fridays, for my W-2, but real estate eats up, no joke, like a full 8 to 10 hours of my Fridays. Why are Fridays so busy?
Piss poor planning by others does not create an emergency on my part, but everyone else thinks it does.
Oh, maybe that's it. I mean, although I have nobody to blame but myself because I was the one that said, I'm doing this. I'm jumping in as an investor. So,
Yep. Hey, I passed an inspection yesterday.
Yay! With flying colors?
If the color purple permit slapped on the water heater means flying colors, then yes, absolutely with flying colors. It was a purple permit. So,
yay. We like that.
If pigs were purple, we'd have purple pigs.
Oh my God. This is taking a nosedive, bud. I don't know if we're going to get to that 500 number with those dad jokes flying out like this.
I don't know. Bring it on. Let's
bring it on. Challenge accepted, Bud says. How many dad jokes can we put in to our live stream, which will later be on the podcast, on the Aim High podcast, and still have our viewership, still have friends that care to jump in and listen?
I've lost so many friends because I make stupid human jokes. It's just like the Encyclopedia Botanica of useless knowledge.
Do you know, I have to say, I recently heard somebody, actually, hey, Mike Savage, if you're watching, I'm going to quote you. Mike Savage recently told me, it's a lonely ride to the top.
Yeah.
And so you do lose friends. You do lose people that you thought would be around forever. But I have lost people over the stupidest stuff in my life since I started as a real estate investor. But you know what's cool? Sometimes, actually all the time, I'll commit to it all the time. When somebody shows themselves the door in my life, it almost always opens infinite new possibilities for me. And one of those possibilities was, my parents, they're not naysayers, but they're skeptics. And when we started as real estate investors, they were like, okay, good luck. Don't ask us for any money. I've never asked my parents for a dime ever. Never, right? Even as a kid. And interestingly, I've been trying to convince my mom and my stepdad to take a vacation to go see one of our condos. I finally convinced them and they went a couple of months ago. I don't know why they went in the hottest part of the year to one of my Arizona condos, but they had a good time. They went to all the places that we went. I talked about this last week. They met the people that we spend time with down there. And so it's pretty cool to see a skeptic turned believer go to our places, come back and say, when can we go back? This is so cool. Everything you've built. Like, that makes me just like, I'm just excited. It makes me excited for the next deal. Oh my gosh. That's a code.
It is. It's a Contra. It's the old Contra code.
Oh my gosh. I wish the babe was up here to hear that. He would have liked it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Listen, when I was growing up, I don't even want to say growing up because I was in my 20s when Nintendo came out. But that's
In your
what it
20s?
was. It was how to get unlimited lives in Contra. It was a scroll
Oh,
game. Yeah.
I don't know what Contra is.
That's okay.
Sorry.
You shouldn't. You might have been like 3.
I don't know. I was born in 85, so it's entirely possible.
No, yeah, you were probably in your teens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I was too busy playing soccer. Oh, Konami cheat. It's the Konami cheat
No, I
code.
was still, no, it was, I had just gotten out of the military. So it was like 1990. So
I was 5. I was around. I was, I was small, but I was around.
yeah.
Anyway, we digress.
Hey, listen, now we've got the producer, Ron is taking control and throwing up Contra codes, and Leia's like, knock it off. They're fighting in the chat. It's awesome. Ron commented on that. LOL.
I love this. You guys, we love the interaction, especially when we're live streaming. Feel free to jump in with your comments or questions for us. We love to chat live. This is why it's important to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and authorize so that we can see who we're chatting with here in the live stream. Yeah, that's when you couldn't save your progress. Yeah. So speaking of saving progress, Bud, so as a real estate investor, I don't know that we ever really save our progress. I feel like we bookmark it. You know
what I look at?
Like
I look at it like it's the big boss, right? Like the big boss can whoop you every time, and you only got to beat the big boss once. Right? So if you just keep, when you're buying real estate, you keep going out there, you keep running your reps, keep making offers. It's like fighting the big boss in a video game. And then eventually it's like you beat the big boss, and then you've won that level and you move on to the next level. And I think that's a pretty good analogy. It's pretty healthy.
I liked it. That was solid, because I feel like that next level, you don't know what the big boss is going to require, because your offer could be different. You could be employing a different exit strategy. You could be in a different market. You could be like me, working on getting your first flip while you're definitely heavily invested in short-term and medium-term rentals. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I fully expect our friends that are real estate investors, especially if they're watching, like Rick Borba, Heather and Christy, I fully expect them to just like verbally slap me around once we get something under contract, because the only house I've ever flipped was mine. And the house that I flipped, so I've said this before, but it's very difficult to be the homeowner, the flipper, the designer, the stager, and the photographer, and then the seller, for your own home. Is very difficult. I literally never want to do that again. Like, now I hire people for things. And it goes back to something Tarek said. He's so busy making money that he doesn't care about saving money. Like, oh my God, if that's revolutionary. If somebody had told me that in my 20s when I bought my first house and I was flipping it as I lived in it, 5 out of 5 don't recommend, by the way. That is insane. I will never do it again. Actually, I just said never, and everybody heard it. So that typically means something is going to happen. Great. Yeah. Lovely. I caught it, though.
I tell Stephanie all the time that it's easier for me to go out and find a way to make $10,000 than it is to find a way to save $10,000.
100%. Yes, I agree. I was just thinking about like wholesaling, right? We know wholesaling, it's going to be outlawed soon. There are several states, several areas, especially like Chicago, right? They've outlawed it. It's going to happen.
Don't even get me started with Chicago. My goodness.
I know, but so in Chicago has a lot going on, but like knowing these things, what is standing in the way of us coming up with a new and an inventive way to make it work, make it happen? But yeah, so Chicago, let's talk about Chicago for a hot minute.
Yeah, so shout out to Norman Reyes out there, but I got to tell you, the mayor of creating laws with unintended consequences. Brandon Johnson is I'm going to say it because I'm from the Philadelphia area, and I just can't take these blue cities that are just making these laws and throwing them out there. We're going to increase taxes and then we're going to spend it. We're going to raise taxes and increase $100 million annually and spend $200 million. That just makes no sense to me. So
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and it's not the first time, and it's not the first city to do it. LA did this too, but they're increasing real estate transfer taxes, right? Because why not? And what are we going to do? We're going to do this to the people who have $1 million properties or more. And look, hey, that's fine. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to drive the property values down. So if somebody has a $1.1 million home, well, the value of that property is now going to be less than $1 million.
Right.
You're going to lead to lower property values. You're going to have sellers who are going to be looking at paying more in taxes. They're going to go, you know what? Before this law is enacted, peace, I'm out. Or do something else with it. But here's the other thing. They don't stipulate that single family homes. So if you own a multifamily property in Chicago, and all of a sudden they say, "Hey, we're going to increase the transfer tax, which you pay every time you sell or transfer a home to a different entity," now you've just tagged somebody who owns a multifamily property who is bringing jobs and bringing people, giving them a place to live, so that you can bring more jobs into Chicago. It's just like nobody ever taken a class in economics. It blows my mind.
Well, in addition to everything that you've said, I mean, this is going to lead to a reduction, I think, in investment in real estate in the area. Because who would want to buy something that's going to be valued at less than what they buy it for?
Jessica from Suits, because she's looking for a new place. She just moved out in season. I'm not just kidding. Season 6, she moved over to Chicago, so she would be looking for a house. Yeah. But that was years ago.
Suits, that was a great show.
Yeah, I'm still watching it. It's I'm on season 8 or season 7 right now.
Okay.
Me and I are like binge watching it. Yeah. So she had COVID from Sunday, from Sunday to Wednesday. That was brutal.
Is it still brutal? The last time I had it was like a cold, but I mean, the first time I had it was brutal.
It's a bad cold. I mean, you just can't lift your head off the pillow. She was exhausted, Hit her in the lungs, hit her in the head. So she had a big headache and couldn't lift her head, and she was exhausted. And then now she's like, she feels like somebody's standing on her chest, and she lost her taste, and everything tastes a little funny. So it'll eventually go away.
Oh, Steph, that sounds brutal. That's why I said, is it still brutal? That sounds brutal.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, we digress. So Bud, this week. So we talked about this in the pregame show here. How was the week for you?
It's been brutal. It's been a crazy week.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're watching us live and you also had a crazy week that was brutal, whether you were sick or whether it's just you've had a lot of stuff thrown at you, go ahead and put it in the chat, because I feel like you're in good company. I also had an insanely busy week. Now I'm going to caveat this with a common statement. I asked for it, right? If it were easy, everybody would do it. And I don't want to do the easy thing. I want to do the rewarding thing. And I'm not just talking about dollars and cents. I want to feel like I made a difference. Well, right now, we have a Turo rental vehicle. So it's a private rental vehicle. And Turo is a company that you can list your personal vehicle on. You can rent it out. So we typically have to do our own pricing because we have a luxury rental vehicle that we use. And when somebody else rents your car, you want to make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table. Well, in the busy season, which is like May through September up here in Washington, when people want to be here to vacation and rent vehicles, it's easy. It's easy. I can literally ask any price pretty much and get it for my vehicle. Now, I do a couple things, and I'm going to drop a ninja tip. So if anybody is on here and you're utilizing a car rental company, or even like outdoorsy, you're renting an RV out or something, here's a pro tip for you. If you have somebody that books your vehicle or RV or whatever for a few days and they immediately cancel, which happens sometimes, like sometimes they're like, oh, darn it, I didn't get the right, time or the right day. My flight's on a different day, whatever. I always go in and immediately bump up my prices like 10 to 15%. Why? Because the likelihood of rebooking immediately is so high. Get this, we did it about a month ago. I had some guy that booked and then he canceled right away. I went in and quadrupled my rates for the weekend that he booked. Literally quadrupled. It was stupid prices. Some other lady booked the car for 24 hours. But in that 24 hours, I netted like 60% of our rental cars expenses for the entire month. That's how stupid my prices were, and it's still booked. Well, now going into the slower season, it's August, people are going to start looking at traveling for the holidays, even spring break. People start to plan early. So I went in this week because going into the slower season, I have to go in and do day by day. Like, it's so tedious because they don't partner with dynamic pricing systems, which is my end all be all with my short-term rentals. And so I have to do it all myself. It takes, what does it take? Like 30 minutes to go through and do that once a week when Turo refreshes their site and you have to update your pricing. But I did it, and I utilized a new pricing strategy, which is basically undercutting the recommended pricing by like a percentage or a dollar amount. And I immediately got a booking. Then after all that, I got 4 different requests for bookings for both of our condos in Scottsdale. And it was just like the hits just keep on coming. And then Justin would come up and say, hey, did you see this request? And I'd go, yeah, did you see this one for the condo? And oh, what about the tour? And it was just like bam, 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 bam. So I felt like I was so busy. Like, I just couldn't catch my breath this week between that and work and kids and everything. Like, it was just, I'm like, oh, it's definitely Friday, but Friday is my busy day. So I don't know if that's how your week was. I mean, you passed an inspection, so I feel like that's solid.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't just that. I ran my tail off this week. So,
yeah.
So first off, it started on Saturday with a homeschooled event in North Jersey, which then we hit, put that out there, in case you're a member, throw out some love. I got a hat. Right. So hats and backpacks were given out, and we wound up doing a few things on Saturday. Then we went out to dinner. Shout out to Devin Bravaco, who just like crushed it. I mean, it was awesome. She has a no kidding ground up. It's a rebuild, not just a rehab. One wall stayed up, so technically it's not a ground up rebuild. It's just it's a rehab, but it was basically a rebuild. Everything is new. It was beautiful. Then we followed that up with dinner, a couple of drinks. Then I drove all the way back down to South Jersey, where the next morning we had Veronica and Nick showing us their first flip, which was awesome. And it just happened to be, coincidentally, and I was their first coach. So I'm not going to take full credit for this because Cheryl actually ran them to the finish line, but they are literally 1/2 block from my first flip.
Oh my gosh, that's the.
So I was like, "Hey, you see that little gray Cape Cod?" They're like, "Oh my God, we love that house." I'm like, "That was my first flip right there. That was my first flip." So I was like, and it makes you so proud, when you're watching your students that are like, progressing, and you feel like a proud dad. That was a lot of fun.
I feel like you get to see it come full circle.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. So they've been crushing it. They're already on their way, right? And then right after that, we went down to Pennsauken, and I showed them the plans for the new, or not new, but it's a year old now. But we've started to stabilize it. We got our last unit rented out. Now we're going to do a rehab on a garage and turn that into a unit. Then the property management officers are going to be in there as well. And then we went down to Beverly to see the property that we're in the process of stabilizing now. We've got 3 more renovations to do in that building. And then the value of that building doubles because we're using income valuation. But it was a great weekend. So that was Saturday and Sunday. Monday started with we hit the ground running. I got a flip going on. I was knocking that out, working with the general contractor on one of the units in Beverly. Then, next thing I knew, it was Tuesday, and then we've got banking things going on and money being transferred, and the property management company standing that up. We had the leasing agent showing 2 properties and blah, 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 blah. Wednesday, I was like, Stephanie was sick the entire time. So now I'm run down, So Wednesday, I was like, that's it. I'm taking the day off. So I had Ron block me off. I went out to lunch with my dad, and I just kind of like,
Yeah.
Yesterday was more of the same.
Yeah. Well, you need to decompress, especially after a week like that. Like, that's why I was saying, I wish my Friday was a little bit lighter because, Bud, I've talked about this before. Self-care is so important. And if you need to talk to somebody, I say talk to them, right? Something that I do for self-care is acupuncture, chiropractic, and massage. I do 1 appointment a week. But due to how everything fell after our Disneyland excursion with the kids, I didn't have an appointment this week. It feels weird. Like, I am off. I actually might see if I can get in with the chiropractor today just to go do something because I feel like I need like a little bit of a release, and we're about to pack up and leave. We're going to go down to Scottsdale and next weekend and get the condos. I do my own quarterly maintenance, which is cool because it's a write-off. And we get to vacation a little bit, and there might be something special happening down there too. But
we'll see. We'll see. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I wish I could.
I know. I'll have to fill you in.
The Labor Day weekend, and it was tight. It was too tight. If you'd have given me a month, I'd have been there.
I can't. I can't do it.
I know. Just go. Just go. You know what we'll do? We'll have an old fashioned together at the next meetup.
I love that. And I was hoping I could make it out to the East Coast for your meetup last weekend. But again, when you go to Disneyland, I swear it takes like a month to recover. But there's stuff here at the house. And, even in all the crazy this week, there's certain pieces of the week that were just booming. They were just driving. They were just awesome. And then there's these things that just hold you back. And I don't know about you, Bud, but when you're missing something that you're like, oh my God, where did I put that? It was right here. I can't find it. Or I know I had it on such and such day when I was doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, I had a sticky note and I don't have it anymore.
50, right?
Well, there's that. But I had a sticky note going of all the things that were Lay. That's Bud 1, Kimmy 1. I had a sticky note.
Like
all
4
the things
already. Are you kidding? Come on.
4.
You gotta give
I don't know if it was 4. Okay, fine. 3. I'll meet you in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, compromise. I had this sticky note and it had all these things written on it. And all of these things were important things that were missing from my office. And I was like, where is all this stuff? Like, I know I've got to have it somewhere. Well, I knew I had it before I moved in here with the babe. I knew it because I recently had it. So 2 of those things were my birth certificate and my original passport from when I was like a teenager, but it has my maiden name on it. I need that passport and my birth certificate for some stuff I got to deal with. And I was like, okay, they have to be together. Then as I started adding more things to the list, I'm like, they all have to be together. It's got to be together. Okay, babe is my hero, obviously. But yesterday, he became even more of a decorated hero because he went out into the garage, randomly picked a box and was like, I swear it's got to be there. Pulled it down, literally everything. It was like a treasure chest that I was looking for. He goes, I have good news for you. And he hands me the sticky note. He said, everything, all of those things, it was all in this box. So I feel like I have this weight like lifted off of me because I found the thing. So now I feel like everything is right and I can focus and I have more attention to give because this little piece of my brain isn't over here wondering. And while I'm staring at my screen, my brain is trying to go, where are these things? Guess what? They're in the folder. It's all right here. I'm happy. It's all good. But even when we feel like everything is all good, there something shifts, right? And so similarly, right now, new home sales are up and they're selling cheaper than they did. So like if you're a builder, so Devin Bravaco is another one of my heroes. She's doing these cool ground up builds, but she has such a solid system in place that she doesn't need to worry about this. I don't think she needs to worry about it. But new homes, because they're selling cheaper than they did, that means there's a decrease in value of existing homes, right? And so when we think everything is leveling out.
Yeah, and you got the new homes that are being built that are coming in cheaper than the current prices. So the prices of current homes have to go down. You know,
Yep.
there's no other way to go.
We're already seeing it in some markets. We're definitely already seeing the shift. In other markets, not so much, but it just depends on your area. That's why I know, Bud, you always say what market when we're talking about comparing apples to apples, because we just can't compare Seattle to Miami, and we can't compare Chicago to San Diego, you know?
No. Well, I mean, those two turds of a city with bad mayors and bad politics you can compare those because they're both trash.
I did just kind of pick that out of my brain, but you're right. Yeah. That is comparable. It is comparable in some respects. I will give you that.
You can't compare Tampa to Chicago when the values of homes are going down in Chicago and going up in Tampa.
Yeah, true. And hey, we have a question here from Diane.
Here you go, Diane. Let's set up a call. Let's have a conversation because I've got a whole bunch of stuff I will definitely be more than happy to share with you. Tips, contracts. No, I will tell you to reach out to a local real estate lawyer who specializes in tenant relations. That is a legal document that you just do not want to pick off the internet. You want to have that thing devised from the ground up based on your local laws. I agree. 16-page lease.
Yeah, actually, and Diane, I was also going to say, I really can only help from a short-term and medium-term rental standpoint, but I do my own property management remotely. So I'm not sure if I would be much help to you, but definitely jump on a call with Bud. This is why we're here. Like, this is why we do this. We want to foster good community. And so speaking of fostering good community, when we're talking about this decrease in value of existing homes, how as investors, like Bud, how is this going to affect us? Because we are going to have to band together and work together and figure out ways that not to make ourselves immune to it, but so that we can withstand it. It's like when a harsh wind hits your house, like how can your house withstand it? So same thing, like we're the house. How do we put ourselves into a position where we're not going to get blown over?
Yeah. I'm lagging again. It's because I just kicked on Facebook. I need a new. I got to get my computer back.
But I know.
So I'm actually trying to invite Diane on right now.
Sweet.
To go into that. Let me see here. How can I get this thing to open up?
We should be able to.
I know, right? It shouldn't be that difficult.
Well, nothing should be super difficult, but anyway, so talking about the increase in cost of housing, when we have new builds, new houses, the sales are up, but the value, so home builders they're stepping in to meet the demand, right? So as investors, we have to be careful that we're not getting emotionally invested in what we're doing. So when we're talking about stepping in to meet the demand, what does this mean for us?
Yeah, that's, you know what, you've got to prepare yourself. Here's a couple of things. Make sure that you're not over leveraged. That's first and foremost, especially in the rental department. Here's what you don't want. You don't want to take out a loan if you're doing what I do and you do the BRRRR strategy and you buy a property, and then what you don't want to do is when your all in number is low, like let's say 60 to 70%, you don't want to just go out there and indiscriminately start taking loans for 80% of the total value. All right, let's get Diane on here.
She's here.
Yay. And then, so I just messaged Diane. Camera is not functioning, but let's see.
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right, no problem.
You don't want the camera on right now.
That's okay. That's okay, Diane.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Diane, where are you starting from with your property management company? Let's talk about that.
I am starting from the perspective of I own 2 duplexes right now, and I need to pay myself a property management fee.
Okay.
And my son just bought a duplex, and I am going to be the property management company for that.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I'm trying
Great.
to, I'm not necessarily wanting to expand to other people just quite yet, because I don't know that I necessarily really want to be in the property management business. Maybe, maybe not. Not there yet, but I figure I need to get my feet wet in it at this point to figure out where I need to go from there.
Okay. What systems are you using?
Well, I don't really, right now I've been using Statsa.
Okay. All right. That's a good starter system. There's nothing wrong with that. It's inexpensive and you can link it to all of your bank accounts. I'm very familiar with the program.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, Dan Magnotta, who has, last time we spoke, he had 12 units in Kansas City that he was tracking through Stessa and, maintaining his properties that way. So it's definitely capable enough to get you to a certain point. And with 6 units, it shouldn't be that heavy a lift. You can pretty much manage that with a cell phone and a small program like that, or like Zillow, or, I used to use cozy.co, which is now apartments.com, bought it. So any one of those systems is capable enough, as if you do decide to go bigger, you're definitely going to need a more robust system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Bud and I, we've talked about Asana, right? We like Asana.
As a tracking system, yeah.
Yep. We like Slack too. But Diane, if this sounds like you're just working directly with your son and for yourself, you may not need a tool like Slack yet until you scale out and you have other employees that you're managing. But it could definitely be beneficial if you have a team. Like if you have, let's say, a GC, an electrician, and a cleaning company, and you all need to coordinate together, Slack can be a great channel for that. And it's free. The price is right.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that we have done, and Ron and Lay will tell you, we use Google Spaces within our Google Workspace. So everybody has an Aim High Properties address, and we all use that to communicate. Everybody has access to different things. So you can use you can use Slack, you can use Notion, you can, use Asana, whatever tracking software you want. We use Motion.ai to keep me on track. Ron is the king of AI. So we have, if there's an email that comes in that he deems important, he clicks the little star, it zaps it into Asana and tasks me, and then zaps it into Motion AI and puts it on my calendar, which is directly linked to Google. So I can, it just pops up. I have all these weird different things. Like you get in your car and it set the drive and it immediately it opens up my Waze, it opens up my YouTube music, and it opens up my calendar so I can see where I'm scheduled to be going. So I just got to click the button and it'll take me there. But besides that, so let's talk about rules. I don't want to ask you what processes you're using. How are you qualifying your tenants?
I haven't, my first tenant that I put in was kind of my third son from another mother, so I didn't really have to qualify him. And I'm renovating another one of the units right now, and so I haven't had to qualify tenants yet.
Okay. All right. Great. I can help you with that too. That's not a problem. So just as a rule of thumb, and I'm not big on rule of thumbs, it's got to be, it's got to vary for different markets. Like, when I say, hey, it's a 50% operating expense on a multifamily property as a rule of thumb, I'll tell you that if you're using a 6 unit, you're going to be at 35%. And if you're at a 70 unit, you're going to be using every bit of that 50% operating expense. So, just take that for what it's worth. But as a rule of thumb, I do 3 times the rent in earnings, right? That's what they've got to make. They've got to have all of their income less all of their expenses, including the rent, cannot exceed 65% of their total monthly income. That's another thing that I do. We make sure that they're not a smoker. That is a definite kick out. You get immediately booted. You're not allowed in. That's it. No cats.
I agree.
Sorry, Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix isn't even in here to hear you talking bad about him.
Well,
well, and the one tenant that I did bring in, they provided the emotional support documentation.
They have an emotional support cat?
Pet, yes. The dog. He's small.
Oh, it's a dog? All right. We do allow 2 dogs up to 25 pounds. And then we do have prohibited breeds. And the prohibited breeds are, and I don't care if they're emotional support or not, I'm not renting you the apartment. I cannot have a Doberman. I cannot have a Pit Bull. I cannot have a German Shepherd because my insurance is going to triple.
Right.
And there's already a ruling in that in a superior court over here where it becomes not cost effective, cost prohibitive is exactly what it was. And so, it was like, yeah, good for you, but the landlord's not at fault here. You have an emotional support animal that most insurance companies deem to be hazardous to other people and other animals. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, keeping up with periodic maintenance and having open lines of communication with your tenants is key. I don't look at it like it's property management. Anybody can go like, hey, we put this person in a box. Now all we got to do is just be reactive. I don't do that. I'm very proactive with my tenants. I was just at one of the apartments the other day, and a couple of tenants walked by. I went out. I was like, "Hey, Pastor Dave, hey Ty, what's going on, guys? How you doing? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? How's this? How's that? That's terrific. Hey, just to keep you on, this is what we're doing with this. This is what we're doing with that. This is why you see these guys out here. This is the direction we're going with the apartment building. By the way, I just raised your rent.
I agree. I agree with being proactive, but that's something else that we do with our medium-term tenants. So because we have condos we have HOAs, right? So our HOAs manage everything on the exterior, which is great, all the landscaping, everything. But sometimes they have to notify us like, hey, we have to shut the water off to this building today at such and such time. Our HOAs do a great job of communicating with us. So immediately when I receive that, I have an email template ready to go that I email it right over. I just copy paste, dear tenant name. We just received this notification from the HOA, paste the email, and then I can customize the end of it. If you have any questions, please reach out. You know how to reach us via the business phone or business email, whatever. I actually had one of my medium-term tenants. He was a young kid. He was like 19. He had his first job, his first real career job. He was relocating to Scottsdale temporarily for it. And he told me after he left that he was so grateful for how we communicated things quickly and efficiently and in advance. He felt that us being, and I quote, proactive made his stay feel a lot less scary because it was the first time he lived away from home. I don't think he'd even ever been to camp, and so and we're remote. I'm here in Washington. That was in Arizona. So if you just stay on top of your communication and you're building in these safeguards, and it's not just going to save you, it's going to help your tenants to feel more at ease. Dogs, right? They smell it on you. If they know that you're afraid, horses too, they can feel it. They can sense it. Guess what? It's the same thing with a tenant. So if they feel like you're reactive, that is how they will be trained as a tenant to respond to you too. I'm a huge fan of open and transparent communication as much as possible. Like Bud just gave an example of very informal communication, and I love that. We qualify our tenants, which are shorter term than Bud's, quite the same as Bud, but also we do a credit check, a background check, and a rent check. And if anything comes up questionable, I do question it. So I just think it's about, in my opinion, you're going to have to do you're going to have to build the plane as you fly it. And that's okay. Like I'm living proof that you can do it. So is Bud. Like we're still figuring it out. But if you have these few things set up for yourself in advance, I think it will save you a lot of time, a lot of heartache, a lot of reactivity in the future.
Okay. And you said you run a credit check, a credit, a background, and a what?
So we do a credit check, a background check, and a rent history check. So the rent history actually comes with our, and we do this through a company called Key Check. So we have an account with them. And it's either with the credit check or the background check. I can't remember which one, but it's piggybacked onto it so that we can see, did this person pay their rent if they were renting previously? With our one tenant, like I said, the young kid, he didn't have any rental history. So we said, we need somebody to co-sign for you for this lease. So even though they're not going to be living there, and that's fine, we can state that in the lease agreement, you need to have a co-signer because this is a risk. And he was like, absolutely. So it still works. The systems still work.
Yeah. The other thing, Diane, is you make sure that they're paying you when they fill out that application, and make sure that's done before you even let them walk the property. Save yourself the heartache. You want people to have skin in the game before you make your decision. So we require everyone to fill out an application prior to walking through the property.
Viewing the property. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same. Always.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You got
Thanks.
it. All right.
Love my
Thanks
Friday
for jumping
morning.
in, Diane.
All right.
No problem.
Have a great Friday, Diane.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, right? We can there's got to be a faster way to do it, but yeah, I can definitely drop a link in there to get somebody to come on if they have any questions. It's just a matter of knowing who it is.
That's
Facebook.
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Facebook
StreamYard.com/Facebook. That'll help. That'll save us. I think it's cool though. We get to interact live with people in the studio. And our studios are coast to coast.
Exactly. Right. That's, you know what? Oh wait, no, that was Rush Limbaugh, wasn't it? The Coast to Coast Network, Coast to Coast Studios, or whatever it was.
So.
I don't know.
I think so. Rush Limbaugh. I actually know who Rush Limbaugh is. Are you proud of me? I know who that is.
That's pretty good. Yeah, he was very big in the 90s during the Clinton administration. He was one of the most popular radio and television personalities,
Yes. Hey, next week, my studio is going to be the Payne Field Airport because I am going to be flying out. So I'll be talking to you right from the gate.
Awesome. And it'll be a short episode, but it will still be an episode nonetheless.
That's right.
I think I need more bandwidth on Buzzsprout, because if we're going to be dropping these in here, I only get a certain amount of you can't call it tape anymore, Kimmy. I'm showing my age. You only get a certain amount of time, right, that you're allowed to upload at one point in time, a certain amount of megabytes. And I get 4 hours, and every Aim High podcast is 30 minutes. And then we're supposed to be 30 minutes and we're already at 47.
I know. We just have things to talk about. I don't know. See, this is why when you said, hey, why don't we live stream our regular chats on Fridays? And I was like, why? Now I get it. At least we get interaction. We get other people weighing in and rating us for our dad jokes, or as Ivan said, mom jokes, of course.
Right. Hey, whatever it is, So, Kimmy, I got to tell you, July, we had a 1/4 point raise, next month, I'm looking at economic indicators and I'm just going oh my goodness, really? Again?
I know.
I'm thinking
be the third consecutive rate hike.
It's too much, at what point in time, if you think your eggs are expensive now, just give it a shot. Just give it a minute. I understand what they're trying to do. Trying to keep unemployment down, trying to keep inflation in check, economic growth rate. But here's an idea. If you stop throwing money away and devaluing the dollar, inflation stops.
Yeah, but this is how this is how the Fed says they're going to keep inflation in check. But also, if the economy grows too quickly, then that could indicate inflation in the future. But you have to, there's more considerations too, right? There's the stock market as well. And we know the Fed does not want to rock the boat with that at all. There's also the bond market, which is closely and heavily monitored. But Bud, you and I, the things that we're just talking about now, these are very consumerist topics.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm choosing.
Kimmy, let me ask you this question. They raise the rates or not? You still buying real estate?
Absolutely. All day long.
Yep. All day, every day. I just had somebody reach out to me. Hey, we can save you taxes and blah, 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 and this and that and blah, blah, blah. How many taxes did you pay this year? I went, I didn't. I'm in real estate. They ghosted me. They stopped.
Because there's nothing, you can't come back from that. There's nothing to say to it. And why is that? Because upper echelon of life, of business and life. I truly believe that. I feel like, I know I've said it to you before. I feel like this was my calling. Like I was meant to do this. And so I don't need any of that stuff. And I mean, the Fed can do what the Fed wants to do. I'm still going to do my thing. I'm still going to buy real estate. I'm still going to do JVs. I'm still going to look at multifamilies. I'm still going to get I'm going to do my flip. I have to get a flip. I don't care if it's cosmetic. I have to get, it cannot be my own house.
I really can't wait.
Cannot be my own house. I know.
The lender who shall not be named.
Gotcha.
You know, I just like really, it's just. I
know. Well, this is the truth, bud. Again, nobody ever said that anything in real estate was the same, right? Everything in real estate is negotiable. Yeah. It's all negotiable, including how we go about it, how we utilize it, how we partner together to make things happen. Absolutely. Yes. Everything. And you know, sometimes, and I heard you say this earlier, I think this is an important point. You and I are both huge proponents of, again, if you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. We're here, obviously. Mm-hmm. But if you need to talk to somebody and get some stress off your chest, do it. I also feel like we have to, as investors, weigh the consequences of our inaction in taking care of ourselves. And so you could have 45, email inbox potential, I won't say deals, but I'll say leads with air quotes, because a qualified lead is different than a lead, which I can get into at a later date. And you can feel very overwhelmed with the influx of stuff coming your way, or you can have a system for sorting and sifting through those things to determine which ones you're going to look at and not feel that overwhelm and that overstimulation. But at the bottom line for me, Bud, is what you said. You have to take some decompression time. And sometimes that's what it looks like to be a balanced investor. And balance does not mean that you're black and you're red. It doesn't mean that it all makes sense. We just talked about this in the pregame show, right? Like, man, one day you have all this money and then the next day you have $100. And that's real estate. Welcome to real estate. REI guy, I hope you're watching. I'm quoting you.
Yeah, it ebbs and it flows. And speaking of which, I am going to have to go deal with something. So
another call.
Yeah, so we have a contractor in need right now that I'm going to have to. So real estate investing saves you taxes, right? Don't pay taxes. Yeah. Taxes are bad. Okay.
That's right. Always.
Right. But Kimmy, great point. The ebbs and the flows are always there. I am going to go deal with an ebb right now because I have someone who's trying to move into an apartment on September 1st. And here it is, August 25th. And we have just completed the demo phase on the apartment. And I've got to go make sure that we have enough cash or enough money for materials.
Wow.
So.
Oh, wow. You have fun with that. So I'm flowing today. Today is my flow. You're ebbing and I'm flowing. See?
There we go. See, now that's it. We're the yin and the yang of real estate podcasting, I guess.
Here. You know what? I love that. We are the yin and yang of real estate investing podcasts.
There you go. That's awesome. You know what? We need to make that a tagline.
We do. We need t-shirts. Hashtag still not sponsored.
We need a yin and a yang. Kimmy and Bud.
We need. Okay. Now we have a weekend project, Bud, because we didn't have enough already.
Lay will knock that out in 5 minutes. She's awesome.
Yay.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, get ready for it because Second Street Marketing is about to go live. And when it does, we will be opening it up to our listeners specifically with a discount code so that if you are having trouble with your own social media and making sure that you're staying consistent, Lay would be the one to help you out with that with Second Street Marketing. So just be ready for that.
I'm so excited.
In the near future. And hashtag, we will be sponsored.
I love that. I love that futuristic and positive perspective.
All right.
So great.
So Kimmy, if you're ready to wrap up, you good?
For sure.
Excellent.
I need some more. Okay. I need some more coffee.
Right. I'm like, just I'm not getting enough. You know,
I know.
I got a big weight off my shoulders. I had a back squat today of 350 pounds for 5. So I left my knees at the gym, but I'm fine. I got the weight going. So
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Anyway,
Everything's
that's
fine.
my last dad joke for the day. Yeah, it's
Oh
all
my
good
God.
here, except for now I need a knee replacement. Okay. So for Kimmy Crombie, my co-host from the West Coast, I am Bud Evans, the property patriot and host of the Aim High podcast, saying until the next time we meet, aim high.